But, you know, we were talking about Bob Cummings coming in as a high school coach.
Yeah.
I think one of his biggest problems was delegating authority. You know, I remember Howard Vernon was a real sharp offensive mind. He ended up being the City High principal. And he would call down a play, and Cummings would override it and want to run and stuff. And, you know, now, you know, Ken O'Keefe calls all the plays, and you know, Kirk Ferenz just coaches.
Another quick story. My second story I wanted to interject was Lemuel Grayson, who was a couple of years younger than Bruce and I, played offensive guard for Iowa. He and Paul Posler, who also was an offensive tackle, they were recruited by Coach Cummings, but they ended their career under Coach Fry. They came to visit me years later after their careers were done. Lemuel was back in town. Paul brought him down to visit me. I was working for the city at the time. And I'll never forget this story that Lemuel said to me. He said, you know, Monk, you would have loved playing for Coach Fry. And I said, why? He said, because he didn't beat us up as much as Coach Cummings did. Meaning in practice and things like that. I mean, you know, we go live scrimmages in the middle of the week, and especially if we lost a game.
Oh, really?
You know, that next week,
no
Tuesday or something like that, we go live scrimmage.
Wow.
Like, Hayden Fry didn't do that kind of stuff. But I'm not trying to knock Coach Cummings, but you know, there was a different philosophy and things were different.
That's a good point, that philosophy, because, you know, you go back to the 50s with Evashevsky, he pounded the heck on him. Of course, it was one platoon back then. And, you know, Cummings probably picked that up. In the 70s, we're banging it out. And then in the 80s, they kind of figured out, well, wait a minute. You know, let's not get these guys so beat up in practice that they're not going to be ready on Saturday. And you know, you don't let the running backs get touched anymore. And back then,
body has time to heal.
Body's
got to heal up a little bit, you know, to recoup. Definitely. Now, we're going to go into a little bit of a different era here, bump it up a little bit. Bruce, you had a son, Kelvin, that played at ran track and play. I know you got two sons, Bruce and Kelvin. Bruce played at USD, I believe, and Kelvin played for the University of Iowa football.
Now that's kind of a high point for me, really. You know, if I put my career aside and going to school here and everything, but to stay in the community and to raise your kids, and really nothing more exciting than to have Kirk Ferenz call over. And for Kelvin to be recruited and to come here, that was an exciting moment, you know.
I bet it was.
Chandler from the shotgun for the first time today. Now zips it down the sideline, and Kelvin Davis got it, and he got a lick laid on him by Marlon Jackson, but he held on. Whoa. McCullum and Ochoa, both wideouts to the left. They want to come back to the right. They do. It's a touchdown. Kelvin Davis. Point away from being a field goal game here late in the second quarter.
I bet it was.
You know, it's nothing that is more fun. And Kelvin, he was a great little guy. Matter of fact, he was probably more outstanding in his track than he was in football, you know. And I knew Coach Ravensburger with Kelvin, and he was the elite runner, and still today holds a record here for the 400, you know.
Didn't Baylor recruit him?
Baylor, a lot of the track schools were looking at him, but he had this thing. He wanted to be a Hawkeye, he wanted to play football.
I talked with John Raffensperger. It's not been that long ago, because him and I did a show together.
Nice.
And he talked about Kelvin, and big part of Coach Raffensperger really wished, nothing against Iowa,
he told
Baylor had a great track program.
He could have went
and they had an incredible track program there. And Kelvin was, I don't know, does he still hold the 400 state record?
He still holds the 400.
I believe like a 47-1.
Well, he was the most valuable player at the Drake Relays.
Drake,
won like 2 or 3 events, and City High won it all.
Incredible track runner.
And then basketball, he got some scholarship off from UNI, maybe?
Yeah, he had basketball scholarships.
So we had 3 different sports he could have played in.
Could have played in.
Who was some of the other football schools that they looked at, that he got some letters from?
Well, I mean,
Big Ten?
He got a lot of letters from surrounding schools, you know. But when you grow up right here as a Hawkeye, you know, you kind of got those blinders on, and you're looking to come and be a part of the program. And matter of fact, when he was just a junior when he had his opportunity to focus at coming in Iowa. So it gave him a kind of a head start to get in there. And he came in at a time I thought was exciting too, you know, when he could make things happen for himself. But Calvin was quite a go-getter, you know, and Coach Raffensperger used to talk to me about him having Olympic potential in the track. But I'll tell you what, it's nothing more exciting. And, you know, speaking of that today, okay, I want to just say a little something about the athletes today. Yeah. It is really tough. People think it's easy to be an athlete, but it's not, you know. Those kids, they might work out in the morning, they go to class, they work out in the afternoon, they got to do homework, and they got to be rested to get up and do it all over again the next day. So it's not really like they, you know, ride the celebrity bus around and spend their time. You know, if you got a lot of time to get in trouble, you're definitely not doing what the program calls for. Right. You know?
I think, not to cut you off, but to hear you say that, I want everyone to know I think that was true about us also. I can remember eating a meal in Hillcrest one day, and a non-student athlete was talking to some of us and talking about, oh, you guys got it easy. But, you know, we had two-a-days. We had winter workouts. If you were here in the summer, you had to do this. You know, we had mandatory study hall. I mean, you know, I always say this. I kind of feel like I put myself through college because, granted, I was blessed to get a scholarship to play college football here at Iowa, but at the same time, if you didn't make the grades, and we saw that too, if you didn't make the grades, you didn't play. That was true 30, 40 years ago, just like it is today.
Plus, you went through 3 knee injuries too, so you paid the price. Oh, man. You know, and one little side note about Calvin, he redshirted his first year. He caught like 22 passes as a redshirt freshman. He made freshman All-American. He did. Okay? I remember him catching a pass in the end zone against Michigan. Remember that? Oh, boy. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, Bruce, I heard a lot of parents say they actually get more nervous watching their kids play than they did because you don't have any control over what your kid's going to do. And, you know, Calvin was hurt a lot, but, boy, he had some big games. I remember he got drilled that one time against Syracuse. Up there, and he stuck it out. He took some hits.
To the ball, You know, it's nothing more exciting than a parent to wake up and go get that Sunday morning paper.
Oh,
you know? and to read about your kid, you know.
There you go.
And it was really exciting that the program that you participated in was a winning program. You know, those kids went to a bowl game every year.
That's right.
And, you know, I remember Calvin teasing me and saying, oh, Pop, she ain't playing no football. We got more jewelry than you had wins. I'd have to go with that one. You know, I couldn't argue with him. But, it was exciting.
Did you get to know Hayden a little bit? Did you get to meet him on some of the different banquets and different things like that?
And I did. And I think
he just seems like a genuine guy.
That was the start of it, you know? Like Monk said, when he came, he changed some things. I mean, everything from discipline. You know, he was a former Marine.
That's
I mean, he brought that along with him. And he bring these guys in, and you need to be a part of the program.
Oh, that's right.
You know, and it only rubbed off on Coach Francis, you know, running a no-tolerance program. You know, he should, you know, because it only makes it better for the future. So
what do you guys think of the state of the program today?
I think it's in great shape. I mean, Coach Francis has put together one of the best staffs, and he's one of the best head football coaches in America. There's no doubt about that. You can look at whatever record you want to look at. He's a solid guy. He's a good guy. He's a nice man. I mean, you couldn't ask for more for your university to be the head football coach. That's a fact. And he's honest.
He represents us so well. It's just that game the other night with Missouri.
That was
oh, my gosh.
We lose our top receiver, our top running back, and yet we still beat them.
Yep, and just to see, well, example, our offensive line just blocked so incredible. And Coker ran so hard. And when he ran that 62-yarder, there was nobody catching him.
No.
He was just like,
It's a big boy.
You know.
It was a great win against the 12th ranked team in the country. Big 12.
How about you, Bruce? Comment a little bit about this year and the last couple of years.
I'll tell you what, next man in. That's Kurt Francis saying right there. And the thing about a next man in is you got to have a next man to put in.
Yeah, that's true.
You know? And with Coker finishing up, you know, I mean, with the things that went along and people being dismissed from the team, it's not stopping that team, and it's not stopping the direction that they headed in.
Don't you think also, we were talking about this a little bit ago, starting running back, Rodney Wellington gets busted for selling psychedelic mushrooms back in the summer of '75. So I was getting, and there was a little paragraph in the Des Moines Register. That's
Right.
all there was.
Yeah.
There was no internet. There was no
No
cell
web,
phones,
right,
none of
right.
that stuff.
No tweeting.
So today, that would have just got blown up. All ESPN, bottom of the line, and that stuff went on back then, but it just, you know,
it's another sign of the changing of the time.
Yeah,
Media just all over it. Guys, hate to do it. We could go on for hours, but we got to end this bad boy. Real quick, what do you guys do? What are you guys doing right now?
Well, right now I'm employed by Deary Motors, and I've been in the automobile business for the last 14 years, and I did 17 before that in the food service business.
Okay.
So, right now I'm currently employed by the University of Iowa Community Credit Union. I'm a facilities maintenance specialist.
Okay. Don?
Well, I cover the Hawkeyes. Kind of got my dream job. I cover football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and wrestling. So let's see. Tuesday night, the men played. Wednesday night, the women played. Tomorrow night is wrestling. Saturday, women, Ohio State, and Sunday, the men. So,
and you authored the book.
Yeah, I wrote a book.
Years ago.
Some of you might have read that. It's got a lot of Hawkeye stuff in. That blurb about Monk getting hurt, he got a little guest shot in there. But, you know, I've known these guys now since 1974, and, you know, we go back some memories. Bruce came to a couple birthday parties. Me and Monk have been business partners, and it's just been a fun run. It's nice to run into them, not just to reminisce, but, you know, kids and what are you doing?
Camaraderie that we,
you know, we went through
share.
a lot together. The 70s,
a lot of people don't share.
A lot of stuff going down then, and we made it.
Thank you for joining this edition of Sports Beat. I hope you enjoyed the show. We sure had a lot of fun. We'll see you next time.